right, now hang on, let's send it to YouTube. Okay, give it about 2 minutes here to prep.
Hey, do we have any amendments to the agenda, Londa?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody, you are live.
Ed, where did you go? He's calling me.
Oh, there we are.
Am I coming back?
All right. Okay, you're on.
Okay, you
Am I
guys are
on?
live, everybody.
Well, he was on.
There he is.
You're right. Am I back? Uh-oh.
You're back and we can hear you.
You're there.
Okay. I
And-
can't see you guys or anything, but I'll just call the meeting to order. And we'll say the pledge, and then we'll turn it over to Luann for the budget presentation. Is anybody there?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yep.
pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ed, are we good to go?
Yeah, we are, but I can't see anything, but just proceed without me. I'll figure this out on my end.
Okay. All right, so we have our 2021 budget presentation. I'll start the presentation by telling everyone that we will propose this budget in accordance with the tax cap. The tax cap was calculated at 0.7% increase over the prior year. And the board has committed that we will stay within this tax cap. So starting off on this first slide, we have a picture of what the expenditures and the revenues look like in a pie format. So looking at the expenditure side of the budget, you can see that most of our expenditures are related to program expenditures, 72%. Program is made up of all of our teaching costs, our instructional materials, our athletic costs, our interscholastic activity funds, and all the supplies and materials and texts needed to be able to offer our program. Did I hear anything? Did somebody, I thought I heard, is there a question? Okay, sorry. We also have some other smaller expenses related to our budget. We have our administrative expenses, which is 8%. That is made up of the cost of salaries for our superintendent, for our 2 principals, for the business office, for our legal fees, for some bond related expenses for when we have to go out to bond, our counsel for that. We have debt service costs that make up 10% of our budget. The debt service is related to past capital projects as well as our bus purchases that we've made in the past. And that's both principal and interest. And then we have a 10% amount for capital expenditures. So 10% of our budget is made up of expenses related to keeping our buildings and grounds intact, and some other small expenditures for equipment that we might incur over the year. These would be pieces of equipment that are not directly related, though, to instruction. So that makes up the expenditure side of our budget. On the revenue side, you can see that the large source of revenue that we have to support our expenditures is from the state. So 51% of our revenue is from state aid. Our taxpayers are providing 41% of the revenue. And then we have been able to offset our budget this year with fund balance, and that will make up 6% of the amount to balance the budget. And then there's a small little amount, about 1%, made up of miscellaneous revenues, which includes smaller things like interest earnings, refunds of prior year's expenditures from BOCEs, Medicaid reimbursements, some smaller items that we may get that are really kind of insignificant to the total, that they kind of vary as well from year to year. So looking at the expenditure budget, I have it broken down here by category. Now, for those of you who are watching our presentation, you can find all of the details related to the expenditure budget on our website, www.clymercsd.org. And when you get there, if you click under the first link that says Notice, you will find all of the details behind these numbers in a format that you can also follow. But I've summarized them here for you at this point by category. So our salary and wages expenses have declined by $108,032 over the prior year. So when we balanced this budget, we determined in order to stay within the cap, we would need to cut one teaching position, and we did that. We also determined that we would be needing to freeze our wages over the next year. Both of our union contracts are up for negotiation, and instead of negotiating a pay increase, we have frozen the salaries for this next year. So we have a decrease in our salaries and wages expense by $108,032. We are going to experience an increase in our BOCE service lines by $154,000. That is related to needing to place a few students in a specialized program at BOCEs. We have an increase in our equipment lines of $7,500. That increase is related to needing to purchase, for our bus garage, we need to purchase a new generator. Our contractual expenses are only up $9,000. A small amount of increase needed in the athletic area for equipment. Our debt service is down $15,605, and as we go further into the next few years, our debt service is declining as we have been paying off our long-term debt related to the capital projects. Our benefits are only up $3,370, and that increase is the result, small increase is the result of the fact that we did not do pay increases for this next year, and we also cut one teaching position. Otherwise, we would normally see an increase in the benefits area. So looking at the increases based on the different types of areas that I discussed in the first slide, our administrative costs are up 11.31%. And while that seems like a large number, what it is made up of is we now have added an extra, I shouldn't say an extra, but an additional principal to our group. And that seems like a lot, but the reality is we also are cutting a position. We had the Dean of Students, which was actually put into the program area of the budget last year. And so we will not be replacing our Dean of Students. So there will be a decrease in the program area for that particular person. And that's why we're seeing this increase in the administrative area. So we did then eliminate the Dean of Students position. The program component area did decrease by a little less than 1%, 0.76%. Again, we did eliminate one teaching position, as well as we're not going to replace the Dean of Students in that area. Our capital component did increase 0.72%. I told you about the new generator that we're going to have for the bus garage, which is a safety issue there. So overall, our total proposed increase in expenses is only 0.45%.
Luann,
Yes.
may I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
for those that are following along at home, the administrative component increase looks really big, but that's because the amount in the budget for the administrative component is only $943,000 compared to $8 million for the program and $2.2 million for the capital.
Correct.
So it looks awful big, but it really isn't.
Right, right. And as I said, it's actually moving from one area, the program component area where we had the Dean of Students charge, to now the administrative area as a principal. Okay. All right. So looking again at our budget here, you can see where our revenues are. We really didn't have a significant increase in revenues at all. Originally, when the state aid had come down, we were going to see an increase, and now instead we're seeing a decline in our state aid by $9,482. The other areas are still estimated at what they have normally been in the prior year. So looking at the total revenues, you can see we're up only a little bit in that area because we have a very small $9,482 increase in our state aid, which is down from our original estimate that we had when we very first went out with our first budget for this year. And that is again due to the pandemic situation that we're in. We are hoping that we will actually get that aid. It is only estimated at this point in time. There is no firm commitment because this is representing the federal restorations monies that the governor has put into this budget. If for some reason we do not get that federal restoration money, we have already come up with alternative plans to potentially cut more expenses should we have to. We are hoping that that is not what happens in the future, but we should know before too long in the next month or so, I would think, as to whether we are going to be getting that federal restoration money. So we will reconvene if we are not getting it, and we will have to come up with firm numbers for our cuts that we will have. But we have already identified what we would like to cut should that happen. So we have a plan of action for that if it does occur. All right, so looking at this slide, you can see last year we had to override the tax cap. You can see that we exceeded our tax cap last year by $163,125. And you can see that this year we are not overriding the tax cap. We will be within the tax cap, which is only 0.7% increase over the prior year's tax levy. Okay, so I made a little bar chart for you to look at. Looking at what the state gives us versus what our local taxpayers have to give us in order to balance our budget. You can kind of see that over time, our local contribution to be able to balance the budget is creeping higher and higher every year, and that our state allocation that we've been getting is now going down, basically, from the last 3 years. All right, just a summary now showing you how the budget balances. We have our 0.7% tax increase, which is only $32,481 over the prior year tax levy to balance the budget. We have appropriated $588,549 fund balance to be able to balance this budget, as well as using some of our employee benefits reserve, which is $57,000. All right, so what does that budget mean for the local taxpayer? Well, I can only provide estimated rates. We do not have firm rates at this point in time. The rates will not be firm until August when we actually go to set the tax levy. So tentatively, I have gotten numbers from both of our assessors for the different towns. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see that the taxable value among each of the towns has changed dramatically. Specifically, the town of Clymer has gone to a full valuation. So they are showing the largest increase, but we also had increases in French Creek and Mina as well. So looking at those tax rates above, you can see that we actually have a lower tax rate this year. And you can also see that all of the rates are the same among all of the towns because Clymer changed to a full equalization rate this year. All right, so we are going from 14.96 down to 13.9. All right, so how does our tax cap versus our levy compare? If you're looking at our tax cap, you're going to see, which the tax cap is in the pink color, we have not exceeded the tax cap except for last year. That was the first and only year that we have ever exceeded the tax cap. Looking at the first few years though, you can see that we were under the cap. And at that point in time, I'm sure that the administration in place, as well as the board in place, felt that that was okay not to raise the tax cap because we had a reasonable amount of fund balance for the future. Unfortunately, we ended up having some of our state aid taken back, which happened, and that is why we overrode the tax cap last year. So looking at this next slide, if I were to have summarized all of this, you would see that we had lost a total of $732,551 since 2012. And that includes the foregone tax levies that we could have raised to the cap, all right, during that time period, plus the amount that the state took back in aid repayment of $519,848. So we recouped some of that last year when we overrode the tax cap. We recouped $163,125. So we still have foregone levies though, as well as that state aid take back in the amount of $569,426. So if somebody were to ask me, why is it that we don't have very much fund balance? This is my answer. We don't have a lot of fund balance because we did not raise to the cap in the years that we could have. And the state took back our aid payment, which was from a prior capital project. I also put on the bottom of this, if the district were to have recouped that the above amount of foregone taxes, the tax rate would have been 15.59 next year, which is approximately $1.69 more than the current year estimated rate. So if we had wanted to override the tax cap, that's where we would have been. All right, in addition to our regular budget, we also would like to propose doing a capital project. Now, it would be great if this capital project included some enhancements, but it is not a project that includes enhancements to our current facility. This is a project that is being done to preserve what we have, to restore the building that we have, to cover safety issues that we have. I have several pictures of some of the things that are failing right now inside of our building that we really need to consider fixing with a capital project of this magnitude. So this listing is just a brief listing that I have for you. The full listing and all of the details can also be found on our website, www.clymercsd.org, and you can see all of the details. They are out there in an Excel spreadsheet for you to look at. But the major amounts, the major expenses are related to roof replacement, applying sealant to our exterior walls that have been breached with moisture, upgrades to our bathrooms, refinishing the gymnasium floor, replacement of the temperature control system, installation and upgrade of security cameras, and upgrade to our phone system. So I have some pictures. This is the asbestos floor tile in the chemistry lab, which is cracked and needs abatement. That's one part of the project. Our main office ceiling has water damage, extensive water damage. We have water penetration damage in the main office as well, and water going through the walls there. Room 220 and room 221 have water damage. We have water damage in our library. You can see it going down the wall here. We have cracking and breakdown of our rubber membrane. Over the last several years, Mark Peters, our buildings and grounds supervisor, and his staff have been patching that rubber roof in hopes to preserve it longer, but the patching is failing as well. You can see here, there's peel back of the rubber membrane. We have cracking and breakdown of the membrane here. You can see the big crack in the middle there. And the moisture penetration has caused soft spots in the roof, and you can see it, that's Mark's foot. He was able to actually put his foot on there, but not too hard, otherwise he might go through the roof. We are also seeing that the mechanical fasteners are now heaving through the rubber membrane as well. All right, so the big question is, how are we going to pay for this? So currently the state aid for our capital project is estimated at 83%. What that means is that the state will provide 83% of the cost of this project. The district taxpayers will have to provide the remaining 17% in the form of a tax levy. The 17% levy, as well as the 83% state aid, will be generated over a 15-year term. We will go out for a bond issue, we will bond it, and we will get the levy as well as the aid over the 15-year time period. So what will be the cost to the district taxpayers? Well, on average, it'll be $76,657. And I have a schedule here on the next slide to show you. So our consultants, RG Timms, did an estimation for us of what this would cost our local taxpayers. If you just follow across, you can see we're going to apply $79,000 from a capital reserve that we have. And then you can see what our principal payments would be on this debt, what our estimated state building aid would be, and then the local share that's coming, the gross local share. And then if you move over, all right, hang on one second. I just want to make sure that you guys can see this. Oh. So if you go to the very last column, it says net local share, and underneath at the bottom there, you can see where I came up with the average amount of what it would cost the taxpayers over that 15-year period, okay? So that's the cost, the net cost to the taxpayers. So what happens is we make our debt payments, and every year we also get an aid payment from the state that helps us make those payments. We also have a proposition for the purchase of 2 buses in the amount of $175,000. We have been on this rotation plan for several years now, where we rotate our oldest bus out of the fleet and we purchase new buses. This has been a very effective way to stay fuel efficient, to keep our repairs and maintenance down, and also be sure that we are providing safe transportation to our students. And I have the cost for that on the next slide. On average, it would cost our budget would have to increase between $23,838 and $27,838 on the high end per year. With the buses, we are able to ban them, which banning is a form of debt issuance where we would borrow over a 5-year period and we would receive aid over 4 of those years. So on the next slide, I also asked Rick Timms to provide us a debt schedule on that to show what the local cost would be on purchasing these 2 buses. So going over to the column where it says net local share, you can see that our net local share for the entire purchase of the 2 buses is $83,440, and that would be over a 5-year period, as it would match our aid. So putting this all together and summarizing what the tax effect would be of both the new capital project and the 2 buses is what we should talk about next. So I did another schedule that shows where we are today. So in this column, it says current local share for past capital projects, okay? So our past capital projects that are already in place and already built into our budget for this next year, 2021, and then going forward. You can see in 2021, I have $203,150 of expenses that we will have budgeted to pay off that debt. I also have the proposition for the 2 new buses in here. So I have $91,499 of total cost for the buses and the capital project. So when you look at the costs of both the local project share and then adding in the proposed capital project with the 2 buses in the capital project, you can see that under the new scenario, we would end up having a reduction in our expenditures by $111,651 next year. not next year, this would start the 2021-2022 year, okay? So we would end up with a 33-cent reduction in our tax rate. If you were to do that over a home assessed at $50,000, we'd have a reduction of $16.50. So you can see over the first few years of doing the proposed capital project and the buses, we actually will not be incurring any additional tax rate over those first few years. And the reason that is because as we are putting this new capital project and these 2 new buses in place, you can see that our current local share of debt, which right now is high in the first column, will be falling off. So our expenditures related to old capital projects will be going down. And you can see in 2025, we actually end up negative. That's because we have more aid coming in than we have expenses going out in that year to the fall off. And that's mostly related to the bus purchases. Because by 2024, we'll be done with our old capital projects. So basically, by deciding to approve a capital project of this magnitude and deciding to purchase these 2 buses, we're actually leveling off the tax levy. We're not showing a huge tax increase over the long term. There are small tax increases, 22 with a high of 26 cents estimated tax rate effect for those middle years. So to me, looking at this, if I were to say, you know, what's a good decision to make here, I'm recommending that we do this capital project, because if we continue to just spend local tax dollars to repair, patch, which you can see is already failing now, we will not get any state aid contribution for these expenses. If we do a capital project, we can get our state aid share for the state to contribute to making this huge renovation that we need to make to our building. Patching isn't going to work long term, and we will continue to have water leaking into the building in this manner if we don't do something. And this is really the most prudent, cost-efficient way to do it, is by doing a large capital project and getting our fair share of the state aid that we can get for our local taxpayers. All right, so in summary, I just want to say that we are continuing to watch every expenditure in the district to make sure that we are only spending on things that are necessary. We have, at this point in time, decreased expenses in many areas due to the shutdown. We have less transportation costs. We have less supplies and materials because we're not in the building, so we've actually spent significantly less monies in those areas. So we are going to end the year, we're hoping, we'll know for sure by June 30th, but at a minimum a break even, but I believe at this point in time, a surplus for the year, revenue over expenditures for the year end, which helps us with our fund balance at this point in time. So we will retain a little over 4% in fund balance, which will help us into our next year. As I said earlier in the presentation, we do have a shortfall though to be able to do anything long term, because we do have limited fund balance as compared to some of our neighboring school districts. So we will probably still need to see some large tax increases, and more than likely, in my opinion, we're going to need to override the tax cap again. Of course, there's no way to know exactly what's going to happen in these upcoming months, so it may be even worse than what I'm saying now. Hopefully not, but based on what I showed you as far as what we have not been able to keep in our fund balance due to not raising to the tax cap, you can see it will be a struggle over these next few years if we don't increase our tax levies in the next few years.
Thank you, Luann. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Carol, can you hear me? Carol?
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah, I can. I had to
Okay.
find my unmute button.
Okay. Would you, do you have your phone with you?
Yes.
Would you call my phone and see if it rings? I had to get off I'm having problems with my internet service at my house, so I'm on my phone. I want to see if I can actually take questions off my phone. Yep, it worked. Okay, you can hang up.
Also, I have my email open, budget@clymercsd.org, for anybody who would like to email a question in. I have that as well.
Or you can call my phone at 814-323-0816. We'll give there's about a 2-minute delay.
We have 11 people viewing on our stream, so there's not a large audience out there.
Oh, we don't have a lot of people watching?
Oh, up to 17 now.
Oh.
Sorry. Must be that message was from a while ago. Oh.
I have a little dead air time here. Anybody have a good story they want to tell?
I believe Dave's with us now.
Is he? Dave, you here?
Just for Yolanda to know that he's present.
David?
Yes, I finally showed up. I printed off the wrong report for the board meeting at 7:30, so I apologize.
Okay. That's all right. No problem. Beth, you keeping track of the time?
Sure. It's been over a minute now.
Okay.
Have we received any questions to ballot at Clymer CSD?
Nothing on budget, no.
Nothing yet. Okay.
Oh, you know what? We'll save ourselves some time. Our next after the budget presentation, we're going to go right into the board meeting, and I would open it up for public comment on agenda items. So if anybody has any of those, they could also call in at this particular point in time to 814-323-0816.
Ed, it might save some time if we just go ahead with the agenda, and if the calls come in, we'll take them as they come.
That's why you're the boss, Kirby. That's a great idea. Why don't we do that? Anybody have any objections to that? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to change I know we have an agenda and it's laid out here, but I want to move the reports back up top. I got some positive feedback from that, and I neglected to say something to Yolanda or Karen about that, and that's my mistake.
And don't forget to close. You want to close out our budget hearing and then open our regular board meeting? Or you're going to keep it open?
Well, I guess let's we need a motion and a second to do that?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Could I have a motion to close the budget report portion of the meeting out?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? For those of you who are tuned in and watching, we will take budget questions for a little bit longer. So if you didn't get a chance to do that, we will take those questions. Anybody else? And vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay. We'll do the consent items, the reports, the new business, and then the personnel issues. Karen, you have a need for an executive session this evening?
I do not.
Okay. I don't either, so we probably won't be doing that. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting and approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Got ahead of you, Dave, sorry. We'll do the business office report. Luann, do you have anything other than what you've just told us to tell us? Luann?
Okay, sorry, I forgot I didn't have my mic on. I don't really have anything else to add.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm talking and nothing's coming up.
Leave your mic on. Then
All
we
right.
can hear people in the background yelling, screaming, dogs barking.
No,
Okay.
I'm at the office, but there's a lot of horns beeping outside, so that's why I shut it
Okay.
off.
Board reports. I have a couple things that I guess I'll start with Beth. Beth, what do you have?
Not much for tonight, other than it was nice to hear during the budget hearing that ballots are coming in. So of course, it would be great to hear from as many people as we can. So, but I think other than, of course, it's the end of the school year. So the praise that I always have is even more probably today than ever, knowing that we've almost made it through this different time. It's really because of the staff and administration. You guys have done an excellent job of getting us there and trying to maintain our budget through all of it. So this wasn't an easy year, but everyone did a great job.
Thank you. Carol?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay. Michael?
Nothing from me at this time.
David?
Nothing for me.
Thank you. I've got a couple things. The first one is I am aware that we have some parents in the district that are considering an alternative graduation, and I'm going to let Brianne touch on that. But I think that I'm really happy with what I know so far about what Brianne and Karen and Kirby are planning for graduation. I think we're going to do a good job of that with what we're allowed to do. The other thing is and we may have touched on this briefly. I don't believe we did, but at our advisory meeting with that is attended by the administration, staff, both support and instructional staff, and myself, and then Bethany. I asked Bethany to join that also. We had a misunderstanding, and I wanted to just take a second to talk about that and make sure that everybody's clear as to where we're going. We set out as a board to explore the two options that appeared to have community support, and that was shared services and merging. And we're shared services is an ongoing thing, and we have a good relationship with both of our neighbors concerning shared services. When it works for both of us, we do it, and we're constantly talking about things. Sometimes they won't work for both districts or all three districts, and sometimes they will. But when they do, we everybody participates and cooperates, and it's a good thing. We understand that at this particular point in time, we don't have anybody that's willing to start talking about merging. Not that that's ever going to be off the table, but at this particular point in time, it is, and something there would have to be a change, I believe, in the situation with the other two districts for them to get into a situation where they would want to talk about merging. The other options that we put on the referendum question on the ballot were tuitioning, and then basically absolving the district or having the district be annexed. And those, neither one of those measures or those ideas seem to garner much community support. And I know that for myself, and I think that I speak for the board, and the board's all here. So if I don't, please feel free to chime in. But I don't want to see us spend a lot of time, energy, and capital pursuing something that doesn't have community support that we're gonna rely on the community to vote for. Now, as time goes on, and as things transpire, obviously things will change and people's minds will change. But at least for right now, I don't see any indication that we would get support for either annexation or tuitioning. And that's why we asked to have that discussion tabled until September. But even in September, the board's going to have to take a good hard look at whether or not there is community support for other options. We still need to explore, and when I say explore, I know that it's been indicated to the board at the meeting that the teachers will help us in our endeavor to convince state ed, and there's many schools in the same situation as we're in, to take a look at how foundation aid's calculated and bringing it up to date on today's enrollment rather than 2005 enrollment. If that were to take place, our financial situation will improve, and maybe improve to the point where we're not looking at according to the Tim's report, about a 30% tax increase over 5 years. And if that were to happen, that could be a game changer as far as what the people will support. Because if everybody remembers, we had a very difficult time. We were unable 2 years ago to get a 13% tax increase through, and last year we weren't. We had to go back down to 9, and the 9 was just to get us through a couple years until the board was able to come up with a plan. So I don't want there to be any confusion on the board's part. I know that the Dale Willings group did a great job, and their recommendation is for us to look at tuitioning. But that's their recommendation, and obviously it'll be taken into consideration, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that that's immediately what the board's going to start looking at. So I want to be careful about that. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not a fan of tuitioning. I'm afraid that if you take that leap, then you're down that road forever, and that may not be in the best interest of our kids in our district. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that? That was kind of long-winded, sorry.
That's a good summary of the discussion that we had with staff, yes.
You feel that accurate?
Yes.
Good. I'm not accused too often of being accurate. No, I'm just teasing. The other thing I want to talk about, and this goes back to I apologize. I was having a problem going from my laptop to my phone on this meeting, but I did want to make sure that everybody that's watching this understands that David Molesky and myself were involved in every meeting with the building project. We looked at and it started out to be about $6 million. We pared out anything that we didn't feel was security or building maintenance. And I want everybody to remember, the building belongs to the district, and the district belongs to the voters in the district. And we have an asset. The best of we've never had it appraised, but a building that size in good condition is worth a lot of money. And I own a little bit of it, and everybody in the district owns a little bit of it. And for that, I want to keep that, no matter which direction the school ends up going. It doesn't matter. That's an asset. We want to protect it because we own it. So I want people to just, you know, I'm not asking anybody to vote in any specific direction, but I think it's important that people keep that in mind. It's maintenance things, and as the picture showed, it's due. We have a lot of deferred maintenance. So with that, I would turn it over to Karen for a superintendent's report.
Okay. Well, I'll start off with the results of the executive order as it continues with Governor Cuomo. Now it's up to 202.31. That was issued on May 15th. The continuing of temporary suspension and modification of laws relating to the disaster emergency. The governor is recommending that New York State public schools should start preparing plans to open this fall, but he says it's too early to know for sure, but that we should start planning to do that. The state will issue guidelines to schools at the beginning of June detailing what they need to do to reopen. And schools are going to be required to submit plans to the state for review, he said. And that's exactly as we were required to do for our continuance of learning plans that we did when we transitioned to remote learning. The state will approve the plans in July, and it'll all be in preparation of opening in September. We don't want to make the decision yet, the governor says, but we definitely need to continue to move forward. Health officials are still unsure as to what degree the coronavirus affects kids, and that's another thing they're going to be looking at as they move through this summer. Okay, I want to talk about budget vote and budget election and give you an update on that. The budget newsletter has gone out. All the ballots have been mailed. Matter of fact, we have received to this date 220 ballots back in the district. Copies of the budget is posted on the website, and it's available to residents upon request if they desire a hard copy. The budget vote and election will take place through calculation on June 9th, beginning at 5 p.m. So any votes that are needed to be counted must arrive in the district office by 5 p.m. on June 9th. That includes dropping it off at the district door. If it's in the container at 5 o'clock, it will get counted. Ballots at Clymer will be counted by hand by the election inspectors, and it will be live streamed beginning at 5 p.m. And from talking with Yolanda, my understanding is that when they go live on the 9th at 5 p.m., there will be some audio broadcast, but once they get into the process of opening and counting the ballots and the votes, the audio will go silent and people will be able to watch the process. And then at the end, we'll come back on with audio for the reading of the results. Okay, I know there's some confusion about Chautauqua County moving into phase 2 tomorrow. That is in fact true. Phase 2 though encompasses only retail stores, hair salons and barbershops, professional services, administrative support, and real estate industries. It does not include schools. Schools will not be moving to phase 2. They will continue to practice social distancing, social isolation. School buildings are still remained closed by order of the governor. And we are continuing to comply with all the directives that we received from the CDC, the DOH, and the governor's office, as well as SED, State Education Department. Gatherings are still limited to 10 or less, and there is still limited access to the building. It's essential staff only, continuing to work only as needed. And those who can work remotely will work remotely. Now, we do have more people working because it's spring and grass is growing, and we have a lot more of our staff. Actually, all of our cleaning staff is on site now and beginning the summer cleaning. And I have some announcements for the end of the year. The last day of school for students is Friday, June 12th. The last day of staff is Tuesday, June 17th. Graduation event, whatever that turns out to be based upon restrictions and if they're let up or not, but graduation ultimately will be held on Friday, June 26th. And we are continuing with our meal preparation and delivery through June 26th and waiting further guidance on whether we are going to be required to feed our students through the summer. That is the superintendent's report for this early June meeting.
Thank you, Karen.
Sure, any questions from the board for me?
Karen or Yolanda, how many ballots were mailed?
Well, we're adding to it on a daily basis. It started out being around 1970. I just mailed 10 more today. We're getting closer to 2,000.
Okay. Thanks.
And we already have, we already have an excess of 200 back?
Yes, we do. Ed.
That is correct.
Wow.
Has there been any discussion yet from the governor as to what sports will be like for next year when we come back to school?
No discussion on that yet, Mike.
Okay, just curious. Thanks.
It's a good question, though.
I was gonna say, are we scheduling like seasons? Like, is the football schedule being put together still, or are we halting on all of that?
We're on hold. We're on hold right now, Beth.
Okay.
Waiting for further direction at this point.
Okay.
Okay. Brianne and Kirby?
Well, if it's all right, Brianne, I'll go ahead and start off. To say the least, it's been an interesting 9 weeks of instruction with the staff. As I've told you on every time we've gotten together, how pleased I have been with their diligence and their willingness to go to all kinds of steps to draw the kids in and to keep them engaged and to keep them ready as they can be for next year. We've had to obviously adjust the 10-week pacing guides that we originally put together since the last day for students is on the 12th. So we've been able to make those kind of adjustments, and basically we're moving into plans for next year and closing this year out. All of the grade levels have put together their class list for next year so that I have those to work with. And once we know where we're at with the staffing and all of that stuff, we'll be able to put that together and get that moving. I've also encouraged the staff to do end of the year celebrations with their kids, and they've all embraced that. What they're planning to do is set up a Zoom meeting with the entire class and to highlight those children, all the kids. Everybody's going to be highlighted with some special recognition for what they've been able to do over this time or what they've done during the school year, and to just give the teachers an opportunity to recognize those kids and give them a good send-off for the end of the year. As you know, the last day is the 12th, but on the 11th, we have a full day planned where all of the parents for the students K-6 will be coming to school, and they'll be coming in cars. We're going to keep them in their cars, and as they pull up, we'll collect from them their devices, whether they be Chromebooks or iPads, and we in turn will provide them all the stuff that was left over from when they had to leave so quickly, along with their report cards. And we're going to have them coming in they'll be coming in every hour, starting at 8 o'clock, starting with kindergarten, and all of the teachers will be coming in during that time so that the kindergartners will be coming from 8 to 9, and the kindergarten teachers will be there to recognize the kids, kind of bring closure to things and give them their stuff. And by the end of the day, we will have gone through all grade levels. We've also arranged to have those kids who have siblings that are older, and if they come in like first grade, the younger grades, those siblings will be able to pick up their stuff too, which will eliminate them having to come back again. So all that's been organized and coordinated by Pam Morton, who's done an exceptional job with that, and really sing her praises for all that she's done to put that together. And
sorry, what happens if the parents can't come during that hour? Is there another time?
We're giving them enough notification that if they can't make it because of work or something, we're encouraging them to have somebody else pick their stuff up for them. But if nobody shows up, there will be an alternative day like the 16th we're looking at where they can come and call, make an appointment, pick up their stuff.
Okay, I just wondered if that, that's all, sorry.
Yeah, that's certainly a factor that we've considered. And I'm guessing there'll probably still be some hanging in there, hanging around at the end of the 16th. But with Teresa working there over the summer and her being available through a quick call, we can arrange to get those things to them. Good question. Thank you. Let's see. That's about it. I think that's it. We're getting ready to wind down, close it out, and then already starting plans for next year. I did put together some tentative schedules. I don't know if they're going to survive the coronavirus, but I put them together and I'm sharing them with the teachers so that they can at least have some idea what I'm thinking in terms of next year. One of the things I'm anticipating is a lot of gaps of all the kids who didn't participate. So every group that comes through is going to have kids who are going to be low and who are going to need skill development. And we have an iReady universal assessment that we're going to give to all students. And I've also put together a schedule for our 4 teacher assistants so that they are going to each grade level for 1 hour a day, K through 6, where an hour is going to be set aside for skill development and interventions. And I'm hoping during that hour, we can do a lot of catch up for kids. So I'm excited about that. And I shared that with the teachers and they're looking forward to it too. So that's where we are.
Sounds like you're in great shape, Kirby.
I think we're ready. Brianne?
All right. So some things we've been working on. We've had some SST meetings, and that stands for Student Support Team. So any kids we might be concerned with whatever over this closure, we've met with counselors, school psychologists, and the teachers to discuss and coordinated home visits, phone calls, mailings, what have you, and develop plans for potentially next year. So we have a lot of those in place, and a lot of like what Kirby said, you know, we're going to have to provide support to the kids. You know, we know that's going to need to be in place. So we're planning for that. And along with June 11th, we'll have June 15th is the day for 7 through 12 for parents and kids to come at their scheduled time to drop off devices. And I'm calling it a swap day. You know, you bring me your stuff, we'll give you yours. So hopefully that gets rid of most of them, but you know, like Kirby said, the 16th is a day we can utilize to make up those times. And then, you know, if we have any stragglers, we definitely can work with them to figure out alternative times. We've been having department meetings, continue to do those. We canceled this week's though due to superintendent interviews. So we have a lot, everybody's kind of busy this week. And I know Stuart had mentioned, but I don't think we're on the air yet, but our academic excellence was aired tonight. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. You know, it's not in person like we would love to do to recognize everybody, but it was something and it was fun. And it was really great to see some of those teacher videos that were sent in. Thank everybody. Thank you for doing that. And Rachel really did a great job of piecing all that together. So it was fun to do with the kids and see the final production. So if you haven't seen it yet, I hope you can check it out. And of course, graduation. That's been pretty much on my plate every day, all the time. So we did have a meeting this morning with the graduation committee, and we continue to forge forward with what we can do. We're trying to take advantage of the time we have now to give kids a typical, somewhat close to a typical graduation ceremony. It's not, you know, at this time, like Karen had said, our restrictions are 10 or less. So we're just following the rules, and we're trying to plan as best as we can with giving them a chance to walk across the stage to get that diploma and hear each other's speeches and celebrate. So we, you know, things are always changing and we're constantly revamping, but we really want to plan to give them a celebration. So we're moving ahead. We're still planning and have some great ideas. A lot of neat things actually that we're going to be able to do. I mean, as kind of possibly an extra, if we could possibly do some bigger gathering, you know, if nothing else, we have an extra, some extra things planned. So
one of the things we talked about at the meeting this morning, so the students would understand, there were a couple, well, actually, vice president of the senior class were in attendance this morning at the meeting. And I think some of the students maybe got a little anxious because we were starting production of a virtual graduation, thinking that that was the end all be all, when in fact it's at my direction that we need to start now, because something of that nature takes time to put together. And if we want it to be a nice presentation and meaningful to our students, then we need to put some time and effort and planning into it to produce it. And as Brianne was just saying, if we don't need it, the worst that can happen is we have an extra celebration virtually for our students. But if we don't take steps now and start planning and actually doing it, we'll run out of time and not be able to give it the time and value that our students deserve to have a nice professionally produced production for their graduation ceremony. And I know that they're not allowed in the building at this time, but Brianne and the committee have come up with a creative way to simulate the building outside of the SPC Center. And we talked about things today, like perhaps if we were able to live stream the handing out of the diplomas, because as they go through the mock graduation of receiving the diploma cover, coming with their cap and gown on and walking across the created stage, the diplomas will not be ready yet. They won't be ready until closer to the graduation date. So that's pretty exciting that if we can make that happen. They are contracting, they being the committee members, a couple members are contracting with a professional videographer. I had the opportunity to view one of his productions. It was a football game filmed at Edinburgh University where he used drones to come in and do the introduction. And I thought that that was a pretty creative way to begin something, a ceremony of this magnitude, and pull in some local events and maybe some music that's meaningful to the kids. And whatever we end up going with, we're going to give it our all, and we're going to do the best we can for our kids. And a couple other things on the back burner, we've been approached, or Brianne has been working with a staff member from Peak and Peak. So if the restrictions get lifted enough that we're able to do something alternatively to what we've planned with the virtual, if we get a little bit more leeway to move with, that's an opportunity, a plan B, if you would say, that we might be able to do. Now we have to get it cleared with the Chautauqua County Department of Health. And I believe that Peak and Peak staff has reached out to them. And I know that Connor, our senior president, he is also trying to work on trying to get some information in that regard. And then of course, the ultimate plan would be to have our usual graduation in-house as it would normally happen. But if that's not unable to happen, we have a couple different plans in the works, and we're ready to launch any of them once we're given the leeway to do that.
I saw today that Jamestown High School is having theirs at Strider Field.
Yes, Brianne brought it to my attention, and they're following the guidelines, right, Bri?
yeah, they are going to be scheduling kids with an appointment time to come with their family. That's similar to what we were planning. So everybody's has to do the same thing. So
Sure.
But
Yeah.
just so the folks at home watching know that, you know, this is very meaningful to us as well, and we want to do the best that we can by our kids, and we're working hard and trying to do that.
yeah, I had a parent meeting on May 21st with all the senior parents to just talk about what our plans were and some ideas. I'm having another one this Friday at 5 o'clock. I emailed all the parents out this morning with our Zoom link. It's at 5 o'clock. And I think Karen's going to be joining us for that one too, just so we can, again, explain what we've been talking about so that everybody's just on the same page. So they understand we're looking into as much as possible right now. We want to do the most we can, so. I think that's all I had for any report on my end. So I am done, Ed.
Well, thank you, Brianne. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Karen, Brianne, or Kirby? Okay, hearing none. Let's move to the old business. I'd like a motion to approve the reorganization and regular Board of Education meeting calendar for the 2020-2021. Oh,
And you forgot the consent items and.
no, I did the consent items already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did those. We did those before we went to the reports, didn't we, Yolanda?
Okay, mistake.
We did
I
do
don't
them.
have anything for, no, we did the adjournment.
Oh, we didn't approve the minutes and approve the
Yeah,
financial.
we did.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah, I thought we
There
did.
it is. Yep, sorry.
Okay,
all right.
I think Luann needed to jump in and finish something, if you don't mind, before you move on. Luann, are you ready at this point?
Yeah, I need to reshare my screen again with you guys. There was a mistake on that last slide and I want to clarify that again. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen again.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I resent you all the PowerPoint again. So you have a new PowerPoint in your email. When I went over that, I realized I had the starting point year wrong. And I kind of stumbled over that when I looked at it. It's like, oh, we're out of line here. So in the column where in the row where it says 2022 and the proposal with the 2 buses and the capital projects, you can see that year is just the payment on the buses, okay? And then in 2023, just like the project says, we'll begin the payments on the new capital project of the $95,499. I had it all the way up to 2021. I should have shifted that down 1 line. So this is the revised of that slide, and I will make sure that this gets posted to our website as well. But you can kind of see, as far as the average cost to the taxpayers, it is, roughly 22 cents in cost tax rate increase for doing a new capital project and these 2 buses that we have right now. Because again, our capital project debt for the old projects and buses falls off in 2025. And the other thing that I really should have added to this in discussion about the effect of this on the tax cap. So as the debt changes, in other words, and when we have more state aid than debt, we actually reduce the tax cap that we're allowed to raise to. So it also is beneficial for us to keep our tax levy static. In other words, try to remain at an even level for taxes over the next several years by doing this project. So we're not seeing drastic declines in levy or a drastic increase over time when we actually have to spend a significant amount of money to potentially put our facilities back into working order when we need to do capital projects over the future. So the timing of this capital project is really very good and will kind of level off our tax rate over the next several years if we act on it now versus later when it might actually cost us more, as well as it'll be a more drastic effect on our tax levy. Okay.
Thank you, Luann. Anybody have any questions for Luann on that? Okay, we'll move to new business. Could I have a motion to approve the reorganizational and regular Board of Education meeting calendar for the 2020-2021 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Could I have a motion to approve the election chairperson and inspectors? Oh, I'll go ahead.
Yes. So moved. Or second?
Okay, any further discussion from anyone? Does it, I checked today and I actually added myself onto that list with Yolanda. School board members are allowed to participate, and since it appears the more the merrier, any board members want to be part of that?
Sure, I would be.
If you
Anybody
need
else?
someone else, I should be able to.
Okay,
If
well,
you need more help, but I
we'll
don't
put-
want to be a burden.
yeah, we'll put you on the list, and then if you can't make it, that's okay too.
Okay.
David or Bethany?
Yeah, I'll jump on.
Would it be a conflict since I'm running
Yeah.
for the open seat?
Yeah, you
Beth
better
can't
not.
do it. Sorry,
Uh,
Beth.
I would advise, maybe you could be there, Beth, if you wanted to, show up at the end to hear the reading of the results. But
Yeah.
since you're one of the members that your seat is up and you're being voted upon, it probably would be better if you weren't a participant in the open counting of the ballots.
Well, with that, since half the community is going to be there, probably won't be. You'd be awful hard to cheat. Okay, so Yolanda, can you add Mike and David and Carol to that list?
Got it.
Okay, so that's then could I have a motion to approve the amended list?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? And vote?
Yes.
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 Could I just ask, Ed, if you wouldn't mind, and board members, if something happens that you're unable to attend, could you please let Yolanda know sooner rather than later so she can get her organization down as far as who's going to be doing what?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
I should know the first of the week if I'm able to be there or not on Monday at the very latest.
That should be good, right, Yo?
Any heads up is much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a big operation and it takes a lot of organization and thoughtful planning, so.
Yep.
You're the better.
And thank you for the extra work it's going to take to get us to make that happen for us, Yolanda.
You're welcome.
Okay, could I have a motion to adopt the Smart Schools Investment Plan?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Whichever.
Further discussion? Karen, do you want to explain what we're doing here?
For the SMART schools?
Yes, please.
I think Brian went over that pretty thoroughly the last time. It's really just a plan in place to replace existing technology, more Chromebooks as they don't last forever. And in view of that we really were heavily relying on them during this remote instruction, I think it's, thoughtful planning and something that the board needs to approve and move forward with. And it's fully funded by the Smart Schools Fund. And we should have the cash flow to cover for it and not have to ban anything and just use our cash flow to pay until the reimbursements come in.
Okay, thank you. Any other further discussion?
Do we think that for the summer, we're not going to have to use a ban anymore? Or is that still up in the air until we know what state aid payments come in?
Yes, Luann, you can speak to that, but
I got to run and grab my charger cord. David, can you take over for a minute?
At this time, I won't know yet. I still don't know. I mean, right now, we're okay.
Good. Okay.
I would guess like end of June, beginning of July, I should have a better clue as to where we're going to be.
Okay. But that's good news, though, if we're able to use the grant and not have to use debt for it. So that's the best.
We're not going to have to borrow the money to upfront it?
Well, it's not a significant amount of money. It depends on when it happens.
Okay.
Like if it turns out that we don't have to borrow at all, like if for some reason our cash flow comes in like it normally has and I don't have to borrow just to meet cash flow needs, then we wouldn't potentially need to borrow at all. If it happens, like when we actually expend the money and I have to pay for it, I'm gonna guess it's gonna happen sometime in the fall. If it's after tax collection time and tax collection happens as normal, I'll have money, so I won't need to borrow it. It's all gonna depend on how the timing falls through and when we actually make the purchase. So.
Okay.
Any further comments? Hearing none, I guess we'll vote without Ed.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on, we'll go to, let's see. To approve the second reading of the policy 5676, privacy and security of students.
No, we got to do the reduction in capital charge from BOCES first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped it. My bad. Do I hear a motion to approve the reduction of E2CCB capital charges?
So moved.
Second.
And Ed's back. He can take over.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. A motion to approve policy 5676, the privacy and security for student data and teacher and principal data. Second reading and approval.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
It's an intense document, but it meets most of what I've had to personally deal with. So well done on pulling it together.
Are we going to have to, Karen, are we going to have to at some point in time hire somebody for this to monitor this or do this, or is that what this is?
Not currently. Districts are handling it different ways. Of course, smaller districts like ours are putting that hat on somebody else, which we have done. And Stuart deserves more pay because he's getting another big piece to his job, but Stuart's wearing that hat.
Well, good. Well, I think he's monitoring this, so thank you, Stuart. Anything else? And vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. A motion to approve policy 7243, student data breaches. Deletion.
Yeah, that's a deletion because it's absorbed and encompassed in policy 5676. It's no longer.
Okay, so we do not need, we do not have to take action on that this evening.
You do have to approve to delete it, Ed.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, under personnel, I'd like a motion to approve David Bodemer for summer administrative internship.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, vote.
Nice to have more people going into administration roles, or at least interning for them. So yes.
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 Yes. Motion to approve the resignation of Louisa Witkowski, food service worker, effective June 16th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
I would just like to thank Louisa for her service at the district. She's been with us since 2006. So 14 years is a pretty good run. So thank her gratefully for the service she's provided for us.
And I echo those sentiments. Thank you. And vote?
Yes, and thank you for 14. That's a lot of years.
Yes. Thank you, Louisa. You were always a smiling face.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Motion to approve Sarah Sullivan, physical therapist for the 2021 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion?
Is this a contract position again, or is this an hourly position, or what?
Mike, it is a contracted position, and the reason we're moving with a contracted position, much like we do for our occupational therapists, we find that the services are much more consistent, much more reliable. We did go with a BOCES position this year and found it rather difficult to maintain that level of service. I mean, we're kind of outlier, you know, it's a distance to travel, and we, as it's a BOCES service, you share with another district. And so we're excited to have Sarah on staff as a contractor and working with our students with physical therapy. So I'm recommending for the board tonight to approve her position.
So is it the same contract that we had with her before?
I'm not familiar with the contract that you had with her before, Mike, but
Okay.
Luann and
She was here for many years prior.
Same.
Okay,
yeah,
glad to have her back.
yes, so are we.
Okay, and vote.
Yes.
Yes, welcome back, Sarah.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Motion to approve the termination of provisional teacher. A motion to approve the termination of provisional teacher appointment of Brianna Summers.
So moved.
Second. Then.
Further,
What does this mean?
okay, wait.
I'll just jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen,
Yes.
explain.
Yes, we've got two teachers that we had a glitch in their certification. And unfortunately, we weren't able to work it out before the end of the year. So they are finishing the year as subs. And also they're continuing to provide the services for our students. And other than the title, really not much has changed. And we're hoping that throughout the summer, the paperwork will catch up with the certification piece of it. And we will move on forward as we had been moving on in the past.
So does that start her 10-year process over when you get it?
I'm not positive at this point in time, Mike. I think probably the board could act to do it either way, but that's something that I have to be checked on with our legal counsel.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, you'll see there's 4 in a row, 2 for each teacher, 1 terminating the provisional appointment and 1 approving the appointment as a substitute to finish the year for those 2 employees.
And I know substitute teaching, as long as it's a long-term sub, acts kind of the same way anyways, right? So
Right, yes.
hopefully it doesn't hurt them in their career.
Hopefully not. It shouldn't.
And
We reword that are they going to be a long-term sub starting in September also?
Well, hopefully they'll be certified and back on staff as a provisionally certified teacher.
And if not?
Then that possibility exists to reappoint them that way. Yes.
Okay. I'd like to have that in there as a long-term sub instead of just a substitute.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's preliminary you want to have them as certified teachers first. I mean, I think at this point in time, I don't think we can take that step just yet.
No, I meant for this, should we have it in their appointment as a substitute teacher for a long-term substitute for what they've been in?
I don't let me step in for a second,
Sure.
Karen. I've been Karen's kept me right in the loop with this, and I've been assured that both of these teachers are working diligently to get their certification.
Okay.
And we're doing everything we can to help them with that. I don't think it's going to be necessary come the start of the next school year that we're going to have a problem with that. But we will know by the reorganizational meeting if we're, a big problem that these 2 teachers are having is because things are moving slow at state ed with the COVID.
State ed, and if they need official transcripts, the higher education institutions have been closed and they're unable to get those. So they do have extended time to get those paperwork and that process finished and into the district.
And, but we're gonna do everything we can to work with them to ensure that they're where they need to be come the start of next year.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. What we were voting on is the term. This is the approved determination of Brianna Summers' provisional teacher's appointment. It's there. We've had a motion and a second. Now we'll vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. I'd like a motion to approve the appointment of substitute teacher Brianna Summers.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? And vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Approve the determination of provisional teacher appointment of Dawn was a lot. Was a lot. Yeah, I just want to make sure it was allowed.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? And vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. And then approve the appointment of substitute teacher Dawn Wazalowski.
So moved.
Second.
And vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. I'd like a motion to approve Deb Jones' summer IT technician position for the summer of 2020, not to exceed 376 hours. The rate will be $17 an hour before July 1st and $17.50 afterwards.
So moved.
Second.
This is, I believe, if I remember right, this is exactly what we appointed or approved Deb to do last summer. Is that correct?
Yes, that is it. Yeah.
She's done it for years in the summer.
Any further discussion?
I'm guessing this year it will be even busier than before, bringing all the equipment back in-house
Uh-huh.
next year.
Okay, and vote?
Yes.
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 Okay. Everybody had a chance to take a look at the agreement with the support staff for vacation that we're going to do because of the way that the years ended up being in their budget packet.
Right, a lot of these folks are essential staff members and were unable to utilize their days during this time period. So we felt prudent not, to allow them to carry it over and be able to use them.
Okay. Go ahead, Carol.
I just have a question. It says that there's now Jerry, Gordy, Bob, Teresa, and Rachel. But
Right.
then down below you only address Jerry and Gordy.
Right.
Because they have the most days and they're not going to be carrying over indiscriminately, but their days are numbered to an exact amount that they can carry over. The other staff members do not have as many vacation days as they do, as they're more veteran employees and have more vacation days.
And but the other three staff members are aware of this, and they're I don't want anybody to feel like they were left out.
The other staff members, are you talking about the ones listed in the MOA ad?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe they are. I will make sure that they understand. Yeah.
Are they going to have theirs used by the end of July like the way it was before, or?
At the end of the fiscal year, Carol, June 30, 2021.
But we
So
usually
they
allow
have
them.
Too?
Pardon, two of you were talking at once. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say they allowed them. We've always allowed people to carry over into July.
Yes,
A few days if they had any.
that's right, Mike. And
It's not in the contract either, just so you're all aware.
Right. Right.
We are.
Decision.
But Jerry and Gordy, for example, are crucial to our buildings and ground staff, and a lot of their work is done in the summertime. And with the changeover at the department head, we felt it prudent to allow more time for those days so they could be spaced out and not impact this highly, busy time for the buildings and ground staff. And that's why that decision was made. So it would be least impactful to the process of the building preparation.
And this is a one-time thing. This isn't, we're not going to set.
Right, and that's stated in the MOA, that is not to set a precedent due to the impact of
I guess I just am questioning Bob, Teresa, and Rachel, because they're not addressed in the sentence after it says the parties have discussed these circumstances and agreed to the following agreement.
Right, I noticed that too, but then I saw that it said 10 days specifically, and I'm not sure that those other staff members have 10 days to carry. Luann, do you remember?
They do not have 10 days to carry over, but I didn't get the last one that you guys got. I'm trying to look at that now. Are we saying that they're limited? They can only carry 10 maximum days. So the other individuals mentioned do not have more. I think the largest is 13 days.
Well, we could put in the memorandum of agreement the specific numbers that they have to carry over, if that's.
They may carry some. I mean, I'm not sure if they will choose to take any of them at this point in time between now and the end of the year, but.
Because the nature of their job is different than the nature of Jerry and Gordy, so they may.
I understand, but it seems like those three names have been left off the agreement part. You know what it says?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about, Carol.
But how about let's do this. When's our next board meeting?
I think it's on the schedule for the 15th.
Of this month?
Yes, June 15th.
Do I have any objection if we table this with the intent that we're going to do this? But I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to speak. I want to treat everybody fair and everybody the same way.
Sure, and it might just be a matter of tweaking the language to be inclusive
right.
of there. Like staff members listed in the MOA will be entitled to carry over up to 10 days, and then list all the names.
Yeah, I think just because we don't want it to bite us later because it's a one-time thing, I think we need to be specific on all 5 of those employees.
Okay.
Right. I'll make a motion to table it.
And we'll bring it back on the 15th.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion on that? And vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Approve tenure from Michaela Young effective August 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Karen, would you like to?
I would, yes, Michaela was appointed August 1st, 4 years ago, 2016. And she has successfully completed her 4 years of teaching, will officially be on June 17th. So I'm recommending that board approve her tenure effective on her anniversary date of hire, August 1st, 2020.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Congratulations, Michaela. Motion to approve. Oh, well, no.
This is just recognition, Ed, because
Yeah,
on a normal June meeting, these people come in and just introduce themselves and just give a short statement about their experience. But because we are Zooming and in a different year and a different circumstance, I just ask that we list them on here for your acknowledgement and recognition tonight.
Okay, so we'd like to recognize the mentors and mentees for the 2020 completion.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Lynn Bemis was mentor to Chris Herbst.
Our school psychologist.
Sarah Rodkey was mentor to Dawn
Wazalowski, our special ed teachers. Yeah.
Kelly Olsch was mentor to Michaela Chorney.
Elementary education.
Pam Pilato was mentor to Grace Odell.
Also elementary.
Stacy Singer was mentor to Mallory Brannon.
High school.
Chris Vangelli was mentor to Lucy Evans.
I believe special ed and art.
Scott Neckers was mentor to Zachary Placey.
Paul Sick, yes, high school.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And Cheryl Burke was mentor to Bethany Hall.
Sorry, that's the art, yes.
Lucy Evans is science teacher.
Science, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the mentors for their work and all the mentees for their hard work, and I'm sure they're well on their way to their successful career in education.
Right, and as board recognizes and realizes that that's a requirement of New York State Education Department, that each new teacher would have a one-year mentor experience with a veteran teacher.
Okay, and with that, you have no need for an executive session.
I do not.
I don't either. So hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I take it you had no phone calls from anyone since.
You could have heard them ring. No.
Okay, then no other discussion if nobody else has any to call in with.
Yeah. I mean, we can open it back up if somebody wants to comment. We can talk.
Well, somebody asked me, because last time it wasn't on the agenda for public comment at the end. And so
we can open it up for public comment right now.
I think we should.
Yeah, so do I. So you can call my number at 814-323-0816.
I'll set my timer for 2 minutes. Is that what you said, Ed? It's a 2-minute lag.
Yep.
Right. So we won't have to.
There's 13 people watching. So if you are one of 13, if you have a question, call us or call Ed.
I'll put it on speaker so everybody can hear.
Okay, I just started the timer, so that'll be a little more than 2 minutes. So I'll give plenty of time in case someone does, in fact, want to call in.
And while we're sitting here waiting, we are conducting our interviews tomorrow, our final interviews tomorrow, with our 3 prospective candidates for our superintendent, or for our open superintendent's position. And that means that they're going to spend the day. Each candidate's going to spend the day at our school, and they're going to work with the different focus groups. They're going to spend some time with Karen. They're going to spend some time with Yolanda, and then we're going to have an evening interview. And I would wager to say by Thursday night we will have made a decision. So it's an exciting time for us, and we've got 3 really strong, good candidates that we're looking at. So we're going to have our work cut out for us to make a decision. Somebody else say something.
Then I can be retired.
Yeah.
I was going to say, unless Karen, of course, wants to just stay on,
Oh, yeah, and I can also report Dr. O'Rourke. I talked to Dr. O'Rourke late last week, and he told me that Karen, that he's taking care of your issue with state ed and your.
Yes, I got notice today. Yes, I did.
Oh, good. So really, we could actually postpone this superintendent search for another year.
I think that's a great idea, Ed.
I like that idea too.
I've heard that.
Well, thank you all, but I think
we have.
Come on, Karen.
We have adjourned your emotion.
Come on. Where else would you go and have this much fun and get paid for it?
timer's going off. Okay, I guess if you haven't gotten any calls by now, Ed, I think that we're good to adjourn.
Okay, so your motion.
And my car just quit.
Oh, no.
It just turned off. It's got to be done, right?
Hey, Carol,
Time to go.
Carol assured me that she's zooming from the campground, and she assured me that next, if we have to do another Zoom meeting, she's going to give us a tour by car of the campground
That would be great.
after the meeting. Yes, I think so too.
I'd love to
Okay.
see the new rec hall. It looks awesome from pictures I've seen.
Well, we got to get done earlier than now because it's kind of dark. I mean, it would work, but
That would be fine with me, Karen.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that with Carol, that'd be great.
okay, we'll do it next time.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? I didn't think I'd hear any. Let's vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Before
night.
everybody goes, can I
The part is over.
Oh, wait.
can I
Mike
just say one thing before everybody goes? I just want to thank everybody. My daughter, we did receive word late Friday night that we believe we found where the tumor, the cell that's causing the tumor. And so we are pretty confident we will not have to do another brain biopsy, which is very good.
Great.
Great news.
So
Great.
we're waiting to find out from John Hopkins. By the end of the week, we should know if they're on board with it for her chemo and radiation treatments, and an inhibitor to help her possibly not lose her hair or have a lot of the side effects.
Yeah.
So which will be good because the tumor cannot be removed without a 90% chance of a stroke or paralysis.
Mm.
They're hoping that they can shrink it. They can't, it will never go away, but hopefully we can keep it in check so that she'll be able to use her hands and feet again, and things will be moving along better. Let's just say that. So
Mm.
I just wanted to say thank you for I know, everybody's reached out and everything's been wonderful, and teachers and everybody have just been phenomenal in what they've done. So I just really appreciate that. So I just want to say thank you, kind of off the record, but thank you.
Mm.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for
Keep
sharing.
us posted, Mike.
Yeah.
That's good news. And now I'm sure that everybody joins me. We'll keep you in our prayers, and I'm sure everything will work out well.
We're hopeful. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.